Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts 365 with a State of the Market video. Today is February 8th, 2020. And before we get started, this is not a recommendation to buy, hold, or sell any stock or security. This is for informational purposes only. I may hold positions in some of the stocks mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Okay, so we're starting with the S&P 500 SPX. And so we see this nice uptrend and a divergence, momentum divergence, RSI right here. And so, something to take notice of, right? But let's go back and look at other times where this has occurred. Well, looking back, here was a nice one right here. We have a nice uptrend, RSI divergence, and look what happened. We continued up. Boom. And then let's go back another time. We had a nice RSI divergence right here. Let me just straighten that up for you. Yep. So RSI divergence here. And what happened? We chopped sideways, right? So I wanted to kind of just show some examples of why that, yes, I think there is reason to be cautious here. But I don't think that this is going to be the top, right? When looking at the moving averages, we have moving averages moving higher. Momentum is higher. So could this, roll over? Sure, this could roll over. But I think that's less likely. Momentum is to the upside. Could we chop around, maybe retest some of this area down here, or maybe the trend line right here? Yeah, that's very possible. But we're in a longer term uptrend. And I think we need to just realize that and go with the trend. And I think we'll do well for doing that. Currently, for me personally, I am about 50% cash because I would like some of the more extended things I'm looking at to either pull back some, or there's some things that are just in a supply area and I would like to see some confirmation before I jump in. And I'm respecting this divergence also, because is there a possibility we roll over or it just make a frustrating mess in this area? Yeah, that's very, very possible. All right, so moving on to the Qs, and the Qs look the best of all. I'm just gonna get rid of this. That's fine, actually. Best of all, right here, kind of consolidating now in a very tight range, near all-time highs, and they look by far the best index. Now, the worst index is the IWM, because we kind of came up to this area, we got rejected at the supply, and now we're just kind of, at best, chopping around in here. So the next thing I wanted to show you was what makes up the Qs and what makes up the IWM. We all know information technology, 47.8% of the Qs, then communications, then discretionaries. And what's at the bottom? Financials, utilities, industrials, staples, healthcare, right? That's very, very small percentage. Let's look at the Russell. The Russell, healthcare, financials, industrials. I mean, right there, that's making up 50% of the Russell. So as you can see, you want to look for outperformance. Well, Qs are definitely looking amazing. And so these are the sectors that make up the majority of the Qs. And I guess, in my opinion, that is where we should be focusing, our equity, right? If we're going to be, if we have capital to risk, might as well risk in the most promising area of the market. And right now that looks like technology sector, communication services, and some discretionary. Okay, so that's the IWM, kind of chopping around. No reason, in my opinion, to be messing around with healthcare, financials, or probably even industrials. Moving on, Dow Jones. DJA. And the DJA, same thing. Now, notice something else here. These last 2 days are on lower volume. See how these were all on high volume? And that's kind of what was making me a little nervous. But the last 2 days, the pullback has been on lower volume. And I do like that. And look at the SPX. Same thing for the SPX. Lower volume here. That's nice. That's good for the bulls, I think. moving through, and we're going to look at the XLF, because again, XLF is huge, right? And so we have to respect that. And I like this on the weekly, because you can see again how important this level is. We've talked about this a lot, right? There are these stray things here. All right, so it tried to break out again, this area, and so far has been rejected at it. Again, not a terrible looking bar for the week, but definitely got rejected when trying to make all-time highs. Uptrend is still in place. Reasonable volume here. So it's, again, a breakout here would be bullish, and then maybe the XLF would be outperforming, potentially, or at very least, you have a great place to manage risk, and hopefully the IWM could get going with that. Let's look at SMH next, and that's weekly, back to the day. All right, so I was paying attention to some of these big red bars, as you can see here, as this is making lower highs and lower lows. So we don't, I don't personally love that, but the index, the SMH sector, semiconductors holding up reasonably well. Still above the 23-day, still above the 65-day EMA. So this may just be just a choppy mess before it continues higher. Right now, that's the way I'm thinking about it. I still have some holdings. I have NVIDIA, I have AMD. So I still have some holdings in the sector. Because again, even though the RSI, this is a secondary indicator, price is primary, and it is right at the 23-day EMA, and they're all trending up. All right, next up is going to be lumber. So talked about this level right here, and it's starting to roll over. Don't love to see that happen. Again, that's not the best scenario, but let's see what it does here. It could just be making a higher low, boom, boom, and then boom. Could be. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Lumber, obviously very important. RSI is kind of in this bearish range, so maybe it could get going. Just something to watch. But again, this one makes me a little bit more nervous longer term, because lumber tends to lead the market. 3 to 6 months out, or about roughly 6 months out. So this is rolling over. It may mean that we have a rougher market to trade going forward. Put call ratio. So let's turn to some positive news. Put call ratio, kept getting in this really, really bullish range. Well, if you see, recently, it didn't even get into that bullish range, and then it's now kind of back in this middle area. That's good. That means that people are getting a little skeptical, and they're getting a little nervous. Not all the bulls are on one side of the boat. And so I think that this is going to be, this is kind of nice to see. I wouldn't mind if it even gets into this area a little bit more, right? Still feel, a little bullish on the bullish side, but more towards the center. So that's one for the bulls. SPX versus TLT. So we had the breakout, right? And then it continued higher, and now it's kind of, we'll call it chopping around. So SPX, if it's leading higher, obviously that'd be a bullish. TLT kind of turning this around, maybe a top right here. So again, not a great signal right now, right? Up here, yeah, that's a good signal right there, right? We have a nice uptrend. Now we're seeing moving averages starting to flatten out, turn over a little bit. Not the best signal. So it's one of those, indecisive, which is, again, another reason why I'm around 50% cash, right? Because I don't know if this is going to continue rolling over. I don't know if this is just going to be a choppy mess and then continue higher. That's what I would expect it to happen, but we will see. The VIX. Here's another one for the bulls. I like this, for me, 16.5 level-ish area is important, and we're back below it. I think as long as we're below it, I think it's a favorable market to be long, and so that's another one for the bulls. Let's look at the SPX versus the ACWX, right? Which is SPX versus the rest of the world. And we are, again, at all-time highs. So when you're looking at where to send, where to put your money to work at, do you want to put it in the United States? Do you want to put it in the rest of the world, in any other country except for the United States? You can see that a beautiful, I'm going to go to weekly on here because it's easier to see. Look at this. Amazing uptrend. I mean, it's been the place to put money since 2010. And again, closing at all-time highs. So by far, that is the place to be. Value line geometric index. Let's go to daily here. And so you see, this was an important area. Kind of broke out, came back down, tested it. Maybe a false breakout here, coming back around, trying to retest it again. This is a good measure, in my opinion, of breadth of the market. And you can see it's struggling a little bit here, right? It's struggling a little bit at this area of supply. Another breakout here would be, again, one for the bulls. So it is one that I am watching very closely. What else? I think that is what I got for the day. So tomorrow I'm going to post another video, and I have my list of names that I am watching, right? I have about 20 or 25 names that are on my watch list, and I'm going to go and rip through those charts tomorrow and share with you guys exactly what I'm seeing. And as long as this market starts to act a little more constructively and maybe resolves this divergence right here, I think that there'll be some buys for me next week. And again, if we continue lower, then I'll hold off until it's a more favorable situation, right? There will always be another setup. That's something that I've come to learn. I didn't always understand that or know that, but it's definitely something I've come to learn. And again, divergences, you can find a lot of different areas where there's divergences, and they could continue higher. They could go chop sideways, right? They could chop sideways. They could also turn over and go lower, right? So just because, right here, here's a nice divergence right here that ended up going lower, right? You have this nice divergence here, and what happened next? It rolled over. So this alone is not saying the market is topping out. That's all I'm saying about that. Keep an open mind. It could mean it's topping out. Keep an open mind, and again, good luck this week. Look for the video tomorrow also. Again, I'm going to go through about 20 or 25 stocks that I'm watching that I think may offer really good risk reward. Guys, have a great week trading. Talk to you soon. Bye.